Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Here I am with my trailer that's sitting at about 90% done, which means the last 10% will take as long as the first 90%. But I wanted to update you on where I've been and what's been going on. So we had a hurricane come through, Hurricane Idalia, which actually wasn't too bad here where I am, but I decided to leave my trailer out for it to see how it would do, which was probably not a great idea. It didn't go well. I sprayed the frame tubes so that water would not sit in there, and I believe those are fine. I like using this expanding foam because it looks cool to me. But my roof vent did not do so well. It actually did much worse, and now I kind of understand why every RV's roof looks like a 2-year-old with lipstick just smeared everywhere, because it's prone to leaks. So I did fix that. We also have to touch up paint on where we have bare metal because that rusted extremely quickly, like not even like 30 seconds it was rusting already. And I had to drill holes in the bottom of the trailer of the square frame because water got in there somehow. Overall, I would say it got a D- on its first time outside, and we're gonna fix that. So we're also gonna build the shelf today, and let me tell you what else I messed up. I also thought this rubber would be a great idea and save me some money. However, this rubber and this heat does not stick. This trailer gets too hot and the rubber breaks loose. So that's cool. So what I'm going to do is actually, from a comment, is I'm going to take 2 pieces of metal and just run them along this and make it look like 45-degree angle. So that's great. So we're going to do that. Now the plan in here is pretty simple. It's just going to be building a cabinet slash shelf with this piece of plywood here. This is 3/4 inch sanded plywood. It costs about $50, which, I mean, if you were buying wood during COVID, $50 sounds like a fever dream. But anyway, we're gonna get to it, and we're gonna start by just measuring out. So the plan is pretty simple here. I have studs which go into my frame so I can mount to this and be secure, and I just need to measure. The way I'm doing this is I'm accounting for a 6-inch mattress and then my foot, which is a foot tall because imperial system. So I have about 18 inches I need of clearance down here, and then I can go with the rest up and up and up. Now I do have this issue here where it doesn't look great because somebody, I don't know who, didn't install it really well. So the idea is just to have it come out and then up and hopefully cover that and give us enough storage. We're gonna see if I can do that because I am not a professional woodworker. I'm not very good with it at all. I used to be better, but then I stopped for like 2 years and then it got really bad. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna get the trailer out of here and hopefully get things going. So let me explain the plan here, the idea. So this piece is just gonna go, for example, right here, all right? Then these pieces are going to be right here. So they'll mount on 2 studs each, and then this panel will drill into the bottom of these, hopefully securing it well enough on the back end where it will keep itself tight. And then on the front, we're going to do the same thing with a whole fascia, a whole panel. So hopefully the bottom will be supported by the front and rear, because I really don't have anything on the sides to mount it to except this laminate flooring, which I believe I could put a bracket in, but I don't want to. So that's the idea. So I'm gonna cut my long runners now and hopefully get all these angles right. normally my measurements and cuts are not perfect. They're always a bit off just because the tools I'm using, obviously. No, but I am test fitting this faceplate, and it's not screwed in. That's just wedged in. So it's pretty large. It'll go up another 2 inches when it's finally done, or an inch and a half, something like that. But in general, like, here's my foot, and there's about 5-6 inches above that. So I think it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be, I don't know if it's gonna feel cramped or not, because if I do put the kitchen back here, it's gonna cut into this. But I mean, if you're sleeping, here's me laying down. I'm right at 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot on Tinder. I have a good amount of headroom. I think it'll be all right with a mattress. We'll see. I feel like everything I build is screws, so I can take it off and on and adjust. So I think we're gonna go with this. We're gonna make some cutouts. I don't think we're gonna put cabinets or like doors. I think it's just gonna be cutouts. So I'm gonna get all this sanded and then prepared to stain. I just have to mark my cutouts, what I want to do on this piece, and stain around it. And then I think that's pretty much it. I drew 2 big outlines for my openings, and I slept on the idea, and I don't like it. I think I'm gonna switch it up. So instead of having these 2 massive ones, since this is gonna be, you know, at an angle anyway, or it's gonna be covering the angle of the trailer, we're gonna shrink this down to where it's more usable space. So I think I'm gonna do 3 cutouts. So just 1, 2, 3, and I feel like that might be more useful. So I'm gonna flip this over and sketch it out. I've got my markings measured out here. So we have 3, they're about 12 inches tall by roughly 17 inches wide. And then we have some solid supports here in the middle, so that's all kind of still stout. So I'm gonna get these cut out, and then we're going to stain everything. How I got these curves was just a paint can. You can use anything. I was going to use a paper cup until I saw this. So it's all consistent. I just have to be consistent with my jigsaw, and hopefully it will look nice. Let me get to it. We have the wood cut out. It's nice, I like it. It's pretty uniform, so that's cool. Now I'm going to stain it with this Jacobine. I don't know. I'm not trying to perfectly match it with the floors because it won't happen. So I figured if I just go with something completely different, it'll look good. Okay, stain is on one side, but I really like the look. I think it looks pretty good. Comparing it to the floors, it's close. It's not exact. I like the real wood texture and look better, obviously, because it's got the grain and knots and everything. But overall, this looks pretty good. We have to let it sit for 8 hours. So what I thought would take me a day to build this is going to take at least 3. So, and it's a really bad thunderstorm outside, and the trailer's outside. There he is. So we'll see if he's dry. We'll see. It's all dried out in the daylight, and it looks pretty good. It honestly kind of looks like a match. So let's get this installed. Well, that's a shelf. Pretty good storage inside. I'm glad that I didn't go with the full big covers. I think this looks better. Plus I can put hooks up here, anything. But now I'm going to wire up the fan. So we're gonna put some electrical stuff over in this corner, probably tucked up in there so nobody sees it. And yeah, but this is pretty sturdy. I mean, we're drilled into this piece, which is drilled into the runners up top, which are drilled into the frame. The bottom is drilled in to that. So overall, I believe everything should be pretty solid. At least that's how it works in my head. All right, on the GoPro, hopefully y'all can hear me okay. We're gonna be using this fuse block here. I'm gonna tuck it up away in here where it should be relatively easily accessible. And then we're gonna run our fan to it. So first things first, we're gonna get this screwed in. We're just gonna do it probably like that, because that's nice and simple. Maybe a little bit lower, maybe a little bit higher. We'll see. Now we're going to take this wire, cut it, and just wire it up. So how we're powering this trailer at the moment is by this fuse block installed up in here. The fuse block is going to be connected via one of these, 12 volt car socket plug, male, blah blah blah, and then we're hooking it up to our fuse block via this. So we're going to get this wired up into the fuse block real quick, plug this into the anchor box, and then hopefully our fan turns on. If not, I'll cry. Okay, it's wired up. I'm about to do this for the first time. Plug in the anchor. Turn it on. 100%. Let's see if we have power here. Open the vent up. I've not tested this yet, so this is all first time. Aha! It works. Okay, so I know you definitely can hear it. I can feel it pretty well. Like it is, it doesn't prove anything, but it's blowing pretty well. And wattage wise, we're using only 23 watts. So this little anchor box could run this thing for 17 hours. So that's pretty ideal. So since I'm using this anchor box for power, I don't need to run USB ports anywhere in here, and I don't need to run like an inverter because I have one built in. Now, the plan for this trailer, if I decide to spend all the money, would be to eventually put in like a lithium battery and still use this fuse block and all that stuff. But right now, this is perfect. So, yeah, 20 watts, 22 watts. And this is full power too. This is on 6. I just turned it down to 1 and I want to see what kind of wattage we're using here. Dude, that's great. 3 watts. That's nothing. I could run for freaking 5 days. Sheesh. Alright, now that we have our roof vent and power installed, you may think something's missing. And something is. Lighting. Now excuse the lighting in here because it's not good at the moment. We're gonna fix that. So, I wanted something that looks modern, it looks nice. So I decided I'm going to go with RGB LED strips because I always like changing the colors. And I also am going to diffuse it. So we have this channel that's going to go up into the corners of everything, just like this. And it will diffuse it, make it soft lighting, and I think it's going to look good. Let's get to it. Okay, our tracks are ran. So they stop there because if I put my shelf for the kitchen, it's going to go right about there and block that out. So I didn't want to put this all the way to the back and then have to cut like holes in my back wall. So anyway, we have to drill holes up here and here to run the LED strip through because it's going to connect up in here. So it's gonna run inside of this cabinet as well to light that cabinet. So I'm gonna pop some holes and run some wiring. These are the LED strips we're gonna use. They're Govee. I've had good experience with Govee in the past. So they're just gonna stick and go along this track. Well, it turns out that getting this LED strip through this piece of wood was much more difficult than I anticipated. My camera died while trying to record it, but just know, I didn't enjoy it. So now I'm just gonna run it along this track and stick it to it, and then we put these covers on, and wire it up, and we'll have light. Excuse the poor lighting. Basically, this is a power supply for pretty much every 12-volt LED strip. It's a AC to DC converter in here, so I can just cut this cable and wire it directly into my fuse panel, and it will power the lights fine because they're 12-volt 3 amps. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then we'll hook it up and test them, then put the covers on and call it a day. Well, I guess I really can't make this stuff up. Here's our LEDs. There's red, there's green, and there's blue. Blue is dead on this strip. I just tested that one and it works, so I should have tested both of them before I put this one up. So yeah, I have to replace this entire strip because nothing is going to be easy. Alright, new strip is up. Red, green, blue, and white, which always looks blue, but that's that. I'm gonna put these diffusers on, and then I think we're gonna call it a day. Lights are in. It's a good amount of glow. It is Bluetooth, so I can change it via my phone, so I can change the color temperature and everything. But I like the look. I think it's clean, I think it's modern, I think it's gonna work fine, especially because, you know, when you're using lights out, it's dark, so these are not super bright, so they're not gonna hurt your eyes, but they're plenty bright to read a book or pretty much do anything you need to do. As it turns out, this Govee special hub thing, turns out is the same LED controller unit as literally every other thing on the market. So this random RGB strip I had laying around from my last trailer, it works completely fine. It does exactly the same things. Green, green. So I'm going to run this along the inside of this cabinet. I don't think it's needed because there's enough light to see in, but I want to do it anyway. So I'm going to run this along maybe the bottom sides and top, and yeah, I think it might look cool. Alright, lights are in. Was it necessary to put lights in here? Probably not. Am I glad I did it? Yes. And they are controllable, you know, green, orange, doesn't matter. I can control it all. All works the same, so we are good to go with these lights. So I'm gonna clean up this wiring right here and then do something with this. Probably just leave it right here. All the cables are kind of taken care of. We do need to extend the power cable from the anchor of this plug here because it's a little iffy because it's pulled tight. So I'll need to extend that. Overall, the lighting actually in person is kind of green, but on camera it looks really natural. So that's kind of interesting. And this is where this episode is going to end. The next episode is going to be fixing some of the mistakes I made. Which you can learn from your mistakes, but it's faster to learn from other people, so learn from mine. We're gonna put these finishing touches on. We'll get a mattress in here. We're gonna test it all out, and hopefully the weather cooperates, and I'll test it out sometime in the next 2 months when Florida is not a swamp heater. Thanks for watching. Peace out.